Live from the Century 21 Showtime studio in LaSalle, Ontario. You're listening to the Nick and Joe Show, where we talk about the people, places, and faces of our community. It's showtime.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Nick and Joe Show. We have a great show lined up for you today, and we're going to introduce our guests in a minute. But this day in history, 1973, Jack Nicklaus finishes 13 under par, 275 to win the Walt Disney World Open by one stroke from Mason Rudolph. He becomes the first player to reach $2 million in PGA Tour career earnings. Unbelievable. Today's sponsor is the Petretta Group. Dave Petretta, building excellence for families, one floor at a time. Again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick Monteleone. I am your host, and next to me I have my dad, Joe Monteleone. Dad, go ahead, introduce yourself and introduce the guest of the day.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome our guests, and we got a great show today. Great topics of discussion here, and again, it's great to have December 1st and snow on the ground when we just finished golfing all weekend in Windsor. Windsor is a place to be, so love it. Anyways, our co-host, he's the president owner of Morton Food Services division of Morton Wholesale, family business established since 1919. I didn't know he was that old.
I wasn't there back then. Just to clarify.
Proud to support Ontario and Canadian farmers. You still run your business under one slogan: always deliver on what you promise. And I have to also add there, he's a pretty good golfer as well. Welcome, Robbie Calcott. Robbie.
Thank you, Joe and Nick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so Rob is our co-host today, but we have a guest today, supervisor of the Genesis Entrepreneurship Centre. The Genesis Entrepreneurship Centre provides St. Clair College students with the knowledge and tools to help them take a new product or service to the market. This person loves to golf, loves fast cars, and if there's a charity or social event, our guest is always there. Welcome, Sue Taylor.
Thank you, Joe and Nick.
Absolutely.
Nice to be here.
Well, great to have you. And
I read that bio. So I mean, what these events that you get to go to, is that part of work, or is that is that social? Or
I can't tell you.
yeah. Now, listen, don't get jealous, okay? Because the fast cars that she was able to drive, we're talking Ferraris. What else?
Ferraris,
What was your favorite?
I'm going to say the Porsche GT3 was my favorite.
Is that right?
And what is this? Explain what do we
It's just an
referring
event.
to?
Anybody can do it. You can all do it when the border opens. So
Okay.
it's a company in the States, and you can drive supercars around racetracks. So
there
yeah,
we go.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, but not at 30 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sue, welcome. And, I've asked Rob to be our co-guest because Rob has also a great vision, a successful business person and all that in the community, has done well. He's reinvented himself so many ways, but it's interesting of this Genesis program. Maybe explain a little of the program a little further and what you do.
So basically what we do is our goal is to instill an entrepreneurial mindset in students. So we want them to think about opening their own businesses, and that not necessarily while they're in school. It can be 10 years down the road where they realize that that's an option for them, just as you kind of had the same thing too, both of you. So we provide workshops for them. So one of our bread and butter workshops is basics of starting a small business. We do courses on personal branding and networking, learning your business through social media, building it, and LinkedIn for success. So things like that are usually 1 hour workshops that are offered free. Now they're online now that COVID has happened. Normally we do them in the Genesis Center, which is, we've got a beautiful space, an office space. We also offer space where people can come in and use the office facilities. We have like 4 boardrooms. So if you have a business you're starting and you need to have a meeting or do an interview, you can utilize our space and rent it for free. Basically, just sign up. And so then we also offer mentorship for students. So, for example, if I had somebody who was looking to go into the food business, I might call you to say, hey, can you mentor a student for us?
Don't do it.
Okay. So
Sue, not you might call.
You might.
You will call.
I
Right?
will- I'll get a
Don't
call.
call the competition.
That's right. There we go.
There is no
Joe.
competition.
Who are you talking about?
Not yet.
So we provide mentorship for them. We run different clubs out of there. So we've just recently started Women in STEM Club for students in male-dominated programs at the school. And so we've got a lot going on. Like, it's very busy in there. Despite COVID, again, transitioning to online was an interesting way to go. But we've had I now last week I had somebody from Milan, Italy in my class.
Oh wow.
Somebody from Zambia, Africa, and we had London, England. Like, so I have to ask. Normally it's just students, and it's also open to faculty, alumni, and anyone in the community can utilize our services as well.
And
it's all free.
what do some of the workshops look like? Like, what do you guys do in regards of, getting people on their feet, and what are some of the workshops kind of geared towards?
Again, the basics of starting a business, small business is probably our main one. So we talk about, getting, registering your business and with your master business license, and grants that are available, different places that you can get help, like the Small Business Center, We Tech Alliance. And so we will, help them with referrals to those, and basically, guide them through. A lot of the other things that we do are the soft skills. So again, personal branding and networking. We're in the process of a pitch competition. So they're going to be entering their 3-minute video pitch of their business idea. And that's, so the Alumni Association at the college donated $1,500 towards that. So they can win $1,000 or $500 for second prize to utilize to start their own business. So so we've got tons of things going on. It's really busy. And despite we really actually don't have an office right now, the Zekelman Center, the tower is being built. We've got 3 floors going on top on main campus where all the business center is going to be housed out of. So because I fall underneath the construction zone, they've moved us out. But again, we're working virtually, and most of the students are working online. Some of them have labs in school, but essentially we're still making everything happen, and it's great. Actually, we've still helped people despite COVID starting businesses.
How long has this program been running?
The place has been open. It was initially involved with the Epicenter, which is the university's version.
Yeah.
So they had a grant that covered both of them. And so I want to say it's 5 years in total. I've been there for a year, just over a year now. And so they, about 2 years ago, split away from the grant ended. So the college decided it was such a great program that they would continue to support it themselves. So the college pays for it. So everything, like I say, is free to anybody, and anyone in Windsor and Essex is able to use it.
So you mentioned in part of my looking up this program, it does talk about people reaching out from around the world. How do they find out about the program, or are you marketing to these foreign countries?
Well, so you have to register for it. So we have, you can register from the St. Clair website, so stclaircollege.ca/Genesis, but we also put it on Eventbrite, and Eventbrite is all over the world. So someone can punch in basis starting a small business, because it's done virtually, they can do it anywhere. So I think that's how they initially found us, but normally before they're not flying in to come see me, although they should be, but they're not.
Well, that's the great thing about obviously using technology, right?
Absolutely.
And that's a big part of business, is reinventing yourself and moving with time. So I guess that's a learning curve for the program as well, which is great. I mean, you gotta,
very much like you have done here.
Yep.
So
yep.
I love all Joe's tech all the time. Like, just the fact that you have a studio in your office is amazing.
We have a studio here. As a matter of fact, as I read on here, I'm a boomer. And somewhere in this report it says I'm the old guy. I didn't like what this report said. I got to get to the editor.
Does it say that right on there?
Yeah, it said that I'm the old guy, right? But
it's not wrong.
Yeah, but I love technology, and of course, it's very important to all our businesses.
Absolutely.
And so forth. So there's the generation, Z and Y. Being the millennials, there is a different thought process today on how they seek business, and then from our perspective is we're trying to reinvent our business so that we can attract more of that younger new professional coming into the business world. So how do we prepare ourselves? Should we get involved more? So also going on this free program just to learn more about that generation?
Well, and that's the thing, that's kind of what we do. That's available to everybody to utilize that. So again, and there's different places, like for example, WeTech, they will help you. There's grants out there that are available that can help you pivot your business. So if you aren't a business that's tech, there are grants that will help you to change to the tech times and get up to speed with that. So with WeTech, again, I know they just ran, they will run different programs also for students as well, and also through the Epicenter, so that will allow them, and they provide mentorship and they guide them through the process. So they have ones that happen over the summer, so they'll give them grant money to start their business, and then give them guidance throughout the summer, and they have to be operating the business through that. So it is helping young people change. They're our future. That's who we're going to rely on when we're later on, and the amount of tech that they are so into, like, they're all glued to their phones. I guess we all are glued to our phones, but we're not watching TikTok videos. So maybe you are, but for the most part. But
I haven't TikTok yet, but someone said that you better get on TikTok.
Better get on TikTok
I'm waiting.
soon.
Yeah, you better get on TikTok. So
is this a certificate program, just so I'm understanding, or is it just basically some courses
throughout
to
the
help?
Genesis? Yeah, we just, and again, we're just trying to instill that mindset. That's our goal. So I'm not, trying to start 30 businesses a year with students. I'm trying to get them to think, the way that I did. Like, I started my first business when I was 19 years old. I got a loan for the summer and started my first business, and then that just sort of, turned into the way it was. So I worked as a massage therapist first. I still am working as a massage therapist. But I had a professor in university that said to me, I was in human kinetics, and he's like, "You're in the wrong program. What are you doing here? Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, thanks a lot. Like, I'm spending all this money taking this, and you're telling me," he's like, "You should be in business. You shouldn't be here. You're not, you think like a business person." And then in my final year, I was going to be a teacher, was my plan. And he said to me, I got an idea, because I took a sport therapy class, and we had massage as part of it. And he goes, "Now I know what it is." He says, "You need to be a massage therapist." He goes, "There's your business, and you've got the hands for it." He says, "And you're still using both of your degree." So I moved off to Toronto and became a massage therapist, and then started a business. So I had a business in Tecumseh, which is still going. There's 16 therapists there. So we were very successful. We had the biggest clinic from this side of Toronto. So anyway, and that's a great business partner, and it worked out. We did really well.
So who better to learn from than somebody with the actual experience, right?
So I keep starting all these businesses and get all these ideas. So
Robbie, do you see this as like a useful, a useful program for people to take that can maybe, branch off in entrepreneurship?
Well,
do you see value?
I was trying to understand from your question, do you have some people that graduate from this program, or they're strictly non-students that take the program?
It's it's actually just supportive stuff. So they're in their school in class, and then they can come and take courses in our workshops. So again, they're just hour-long workshops and that one-on-one mentorship. So they don't have to be in a business program. They can be in electrical, and they think, I want to start my own electrical company. We have a firefighting program. Half of those guys have 2 jobs. So they do a side job doing renovations. So we can help them. This is how you register. This is where you apply for loans. This is HST. This is what, all the things that we have to pay. So we just kind of give them guidance. So it's not an actual, they don't pay tuition to take it.
Okay.
It's just a free service that the college offers, just to help with the, keeping our economy, our local economy, and building that. So
that's incredible. I love this.
Yeah, we've hired a few students from Cambrian in our sales training program, and they've come out. They've actually done well in the Ontario College marketing competition. Yeah, you familiar with that? Yeah. So they've done well in that, and they've come aboard with us. They go through training for about 1.5 years, and then they end up in a territory.
That's awesome.
They sort of run their own business that way.
Yeah.
Any sales rep in our company basically runs their own territory, and they have to pay their expenses. They have to sort out how they're going to work, who their clientele are going to be, and build a business.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things would be very useful to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like I say, anyone can take it, especially now that it's online. It's not like they have to come and worry about parking. They just log in at the time and sign up and register for a ticket.
Now, do employers reach out to some of these students and people that have ambition? And
so we do have there is career services at the college that will can help people if they're looking for somebody to hire. A lot of people do call us because we are sort of an easy contact, and it's business and they're looking for somebody. So if they do contact me, I'm usually going to set you up with somebody in one of the programs that can help you find a student. Everybody's looking for that, sort of prodigy student. We are actually running a capstone event in April with Ford Motor Company is sponsoring it. And they're going to take any of the students, any projects they've done in class. So for example, we have students in robotics. So if they've done an assignment for a company as a project for school, they can present that in front of the Ford employees. So they're looking for our best and brightest. It's an opportunity for the students to showcase themselves. There's going to be a networking event and mentorship. We're doing speed mentoring with them as well. So we're trying to expose them to different places so that they can potentially find employment and good things, and it's helping industry as well, because they're coming in and seeing the students that we have at St. Clair, and again it's a lot of hands-on at St. Clair. A lot of our programs, they're not just learning online, they're learning from industry leaders, like people that have worked out in the field. It's not just academics they're learning from people that have had work experience, and also can then connect them with those networks as well. So
how are they learning from experienced people? You have them as guest speakers, or are they
no, they're
profs?
professors.
They're
Most
professors?
of the profs,
Okay,
are from industry, as opposed to just I've got my PhD and I'm going to come teach. So they're again, they've got the connection. They've worked real world, so they have that experience. So we tend to hire that way. There's tons of stuff going on at the college. It's crazy. The sportsplex they that we have, and the sports. They just opened the field as well. They had the ribbon cutting for that.
Which looks awesome, by the way.
Isn't it cool?
They did a great job there, yeah.
They've got the Zekelman Tennis Center. It's got indoor tennis courts. So there's actually, because we only have one other one in Windsor. And so the facility is absolutely beautiful. They've got a cafe in there. It's amazing what they've done in there. So
awesome.
Anyway.
All right. Well, ladies and gents, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
What do you think so far?
Not
bad, eh?
Very cool.
Pretty easy. Conversations. That's it.
So what were you doing a year before this? You were not involved in this at all?
What's that?
This program. Were you at St. Clair a year ago? You said you just been doing this for a year.
I started in November last year,
Okay.
and then so I worked until COVID hit. So I basically worked till May, and then I was off for the summer, and then back again in
So
September.
just got into this program then?
Yeah. So no, I did this program last year.
Okay.
So yeah, that was hired to run this center.
Yeah.
So.
So interesting story. My former director of sales, his wife got a job in North Bay in the municipal government. I forget the role. Doesn't sound like a big role, but as a city clerk.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like much, but that's second in command of the city.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway,
Okay.
they moved back up to Sturgeon Falls, and he had to leave his position with us. He still works sort of as a consultant, but he ends up getting a job as a professor at Cambrian College.
Oh.
So living in Sturgeon, which is about an hour from Sudbury, and he teaches at Cambrian. He calls me and says, "You know what? I mean, we've grown through hiring our competitors' best sales reps. So sometimes." I say sometimes because, and the biggest line this fellow had for me is, you recruit someone who's supposed to have all this business, you give them a 2-year guarantee and pay them more money than they've ever earned in their whole career, and they don't deliver. So, they deliver half of what they say they're gonna bring in. So anyway, he said, I've got some students and they're going through this Ontario College marketing program, and they've done quite well in it. And I think a number of them might be good for you to bring aboard, train from scratch. They're coming aboard with great attitudes, hard work ethic. They don't know the food business, but they're keen and eager. So he's been feeding me kids.
Awesome.
We interview them. We go through our whole interview process. So we've had 3 or 4, and we've selected 2. In fact, we have one just start yesterday.
See, and they don't have any bad habits when you get them.
They have no bad habits. Yeah, they get to go through our whole company too.
Yeah.
So they spend about 6 months in customer service, and they go and get into purchasing, accounts receivable. They work in our warehouse. They get in our trucks with their drivers.
Oh, that's good.
And then the only thing they have to agree to is to go into any service area, any territory within our service area as their placement. So they could end up in Niagara, they could end up close to Barrie, they could end up in Windsor, London. So as long as they agree to that, we put about a year and a half into them. And when they walk out onto the street, they may not have a sales background, but they sure understand our business.
Yeah.
And they're keen and eager, and they really want to grow and succeed. And they generally don't have any commitments. They're not married, they don't have any kids. So they don't work like 40 hours a week. They don't work 50 hours a week. They work 120 hours a week. When I say work, they at night they have to have dinner. So they're living in Guelph. So they go to a restaurant in Guelph, and they put their hand out and meet the owner, or they meet the chef.
Yeah.
And then they sit and have a coffee with the chef. The chef introduces them to another chef, and then the whole thing. So this has been working great for us.
Networking
Really
is
has,
everything
yeah.
too for that.
So I'd be interested in maybe talking to you a little bit about
I
that.
usually don't get past the bar.
Yeah, well, we did. We actually.
I get to the bartender and that's it.
No, we actually interviewed you, Joe, remotely, and you didn't make the cut. Sorry.
Because you gave me the cheap stuff, that's what it was.
That was-
Yeah. Anyways, all right, two.
Can we add all of that? Can we add that in somehow? That was a great conversation.
That was a great conversation.
Way to waste it on a break, Rob.
Whoops.
He's got more.
Yeah. We'll clip it in. That's great.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Nick and Joe Show. Again, my name is Nick Monteleone, and today our sponsor is the Petretta Group. Dave Petretta, building excellence for families, one floor at a time. Dad, Joe, go ahead and introduce our guests again here.
All right, again, our co-host today is Mr. Robbie Calcott. Welcome, Robbie. And our special guest today is Sue Taylor from Clair College. And welcome. We've had actually a great conversation in between our break here. So hopefully we can clip it on. And, Rob made so much sense. Actually, that was probably the best thing you've said in a month.
I was going to say, so that's the first time you've ever given me a compliment, so I'm going to take that.
Yeah, and usually we discuss business, Sue, over a bottle of wine, and we really get into the deep thought process and so forth. So Robbie and I have really, bonded that way. I haven't learned anything from him yet, but except good wine. But anyways, welcome again, everyone. Great show, great topic, always. So Sue, you mentioned that today, of course, and because of COVID, a lot of people are doing things remotely and so forth. But that's a normal way this young generation does business anyways. Social media, everything's through their phone, their iPads, and so forth. So from a business perspective, if I were to say today, I'm going to open up a business and I want to attract this young generation, what does that office look like today?
As far as promoting the business you're talking about? Or?
So that it's their world, right? Do we make it very high tech? Habits are different today. The old generation used to like offices where private little offices and so forth. That young generation today, they like these beanbag environments and open.
Sleep pods. We need sleep pods.
Sleep pods, absolutely. But when you look at the Googles of the world, the Yahoos, and you look at their corporate offices, I mean, it looks like a jungle, right? It's different than the old style corporate world.
Well, I think sadly what's happening now is everybody opened up their office spaces to accommodate that because that became the new style. And now with COVID, we're having to close them all off again. So
right.
they're putting glass walls and
that.
they're because, and again, a lot of people are just going to be working remotely. We're forced in a position where we discovered that it's something that works. We're able to do that. We're able to work remotely. And I know, I saw some study, they said to get a building in New York, it was going to take 75 hours to get everybody up, socially distanced, up to their offices, just to get them up. Not even to get them
through
down.
the elevators.
Through the elevators,
two at a
because
time through the
they
elevator.
they can't do it. Where normally we're crowded, and same thing. Look at subways. You can't be on a subway. It's got to be socially distanced for bigger cities.
That's right. I never even really thought of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for a large city, how do you really get that many people?
You can't.
Wow, you're
Yeah.
starting your shift at 3 a.m. just
so
to get
that
a
you
spot
can-
in the elevator.
Exactly. So I think that that is that has certainly changed things. If you asked me that question last year, it would be a totally different answer. So I think again, everybody is online. They like things that are quick and fast. They like instantaneous satisfaction as far as flipping through their phones and watching TikToks. It's a repeat video. They're not looking at MySpace, so you can close your account. You don't need that anymore in your MySpace account. So they have, but yeah, Instagram too, and like even Facebook. They're finding that they're not really looking at our Facebook as much. That's kind of for our generation. Whereas now Instagram and TikTok are kind of the places, and Snapchat. Those are the things that they're looking at. So
good. Well, we're in all those profiles except TikTok. We're now leaning into that.
Trying to branch into it now. So yeah,
yes.
It's an interesting, I guess platform. I mean, to just throw out random videos, but some of them are like totally edited and professionally done. It's amazing how much effort goes into some of these videos.
I'm pretty sure Joe's going to be the next TikTok sensation. That is what's happening.
Well, I'll get to the tick. I'm not sure to the top. But well, that's interesting and all that. Now, LinkedIn, they use LinkedIn a lot for searching for jobs and such like that. Okay.
Yeah, and we talk to them too about if they're going to be applying for, again, this is part of that soft skills portion that we teach. So we talk to them, if you're going for an interview, you better have researched everybody that you're going to interview with, so that you know about them and you have that relatable skill, and you can look at them in social media, because sometimes you have to make that connection with somebody when you first meet them, whether it's professional. So if you know that their Facebook page is covered in cats, you happen to have your cat screensaver on your phone, like just so that just start that conversation with them. You're going to research what the business is all about. So I'm going to learn everything about Morton's to know exactly before I go meet you, because that's impressive to you. I've done my research, and if I do my research, I know that as an employee, I'm going to be that kind of person.
You'd be surprised how few do that. Actually do that, and it seems to me like a no-brainer. You're going to go meet someone. It's an interview or possibly a job situation.
Yeah.
You should learn all about their business. You should know the key players at the business. You should be able to talk to it. You should be able to ask intelligent questions.
Absolutely.
A lot of them don't do that.
And now it's easy because it's accessible.
It's all out there,
They can sit on their laptop in their bed and do it.
Yeah.
Whereas before we had to actually go out and find people and see who do you know there. Yeah. And thankfully Windsor's a small place, so the biggest small town that there is. But you can everybody kind of knows everybody. But now it's so easy that you can do, and their resumes are right on there, all their information, all their contacts. You can see how many people that you know. And put out that feeler towards somebody. So
I think LinkedIn is really underestimated, right? I don't think a lot of people really capitalize on its benefits. And I even for myself, I mean, I have a LinkedIn profile, but I can tell you I logged in maybe 3 times, and it's not up to date, and it still probably has some of my old information as a paramedic on there, right? So I mean, it's something I gotta definitely spruce up, but it's a very important tool, especially if you're looking for a job or looking to move on to something else or whatever.
Absolutely. And they also have they have like LinkedIn Learning. I think it's called Linda now, they call it. But it's like they have so many seminars. It's sort of like TED Talks and things like that they have to show things. So I'll use those in class if I use a reference for it. So if you go, you can look up anything. So you can search personal branding, and it will have a whole 27 things that you can choose from, videos that you can watch, and different, like you can get little certificate courses and things. So it's really expanded. It's huge.
Interesting what we found about LinkedIn. We also still hire sales reps from our competition, even though it sometimes doesn't work out. But we were putting ads on Indeed, and we were getting horrible responses, like just people that didn't qualify. And then someone said, your ads for salespeople should be on LinkedIn, because they network via LinkedIn. They go back and forth with what they're doing, what company they're with now, something like that. Anyway, so we put the same ad up on LinkedIn, and we got tons of resumes.
Wow.
On good ones too.
And a better quality.
Way better quality.
Well, and there's also too, they have the the headhunters on LinkedIn as well. So how many times I get invited to friend somebody, and it's because they're they're helping people find jobs. So they're trying to pick out the best of the best, and then they bring them to the company.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Business etiquette and professionalism.
Isn't that funny that I'm teaching that?
But
that sounds like it has a story.
we touched on that in conversation last week. Maybe you can share a little about that.
Yeah. So I developed that course because I know it started from taking a group of students over to an event, and it was a formal event, and I noticed that we had, I said dress business casual, and then when they showed up, I realized they didn't exactly know what that meant. So we went over to the States, and we had some kids that were in suits and some kids that were in sneakers. And so, it was something that, I just assumed that, took that for granted that everybody would know. And then we were sitting at dinner, and it was a formal dinner, and noticing that these students didn't know which fork to use, or put your napkin in your lap, or don't put your elbows on the table, and take your don't chew with your mouth full, and so all these things that we take for granted now. And the reality is that nowadays people aren't having Sunday dinners and sitting down like we did every Sunday. My grandma was at my house, and we had the good china was out every Sunday, and so we learned all those things.
I miss those days.
Isn't that nice?
Really
Sunday
do.
dinners.
Yeah.
And so now, and the only time they ever have anything like that is if they have to go to a wedding, or even for a funeral service, whatever, for afterwards. So I decided that was something that good, because there are times when there's business meetings that happen and that you have one over lunch. And if you don't know the etiquette of having a meal and which fork to use, it's saying something to your employer, and that there are little quiet skills that you need to have that they're because they're judging you. That's why you're there when you're being interviewed, or for a job, or just interacting with somebody once you already have the job and you have a customer and you have to take them out for lunch, like you said, your guys are doing. Mm-hmm. You take them out for lunch, and you're embarrassing yourself without even knowing it, because you're not, if nobody tells you, you don't know. So we developed that course, that workshop, just to help them with that. And then I go through the things, what is casual attire, what is business, like formal. They know prom is formal, and a tuxedo at a wedding, yes, but you're not showing up in a tuxedo when you're interviewing at Google where they're all wearing jeans. Mm-hmm. So we, explain, like, just kind of be a little bit extra, but not totally. And then the other thing we talked about too is like elevator etiquette. Like, I noticed that, there's students, and we have a lot of students from all over that don't know, like, you wait for everybody to get off the elevator before you get on. And, you could be going for a job interview, and, it's at a company, and of course you're socially distanced in the elevator, and you're on the elevator with somebody, and if you don't let women typically go first off an elevator, if you don't let them off first, and then you go to sit down in your interview, and that's the woman that's interviewing you,
Mm-hmm.
she's already judged you, and you're clueless. So we just talk about those kind of things, like common sense, like chivalry is basically what it is, a business chivalry we talk about.
I think that's lacking in our education system in general.
Absolutely.
I have, like you said, the world is different today, and a lot of people don't know the basics of life, of how to conduct yourself as, as you said, like as a gentleman, as a upstanding citizen, to try and be a good person, to, have yourself act appropriately in certain situations, dress appropriately for certain situations, and that's something that should probably be implemented in our basic education system.
Absolutely.
Right? We're learning some bizarre things that you'll never use in your life, but that you'll use every day, multiple times a day, and that's just such a lesson in itself, right?
Yeah, and it's frustrating too, because you see it all the time, and again, you want to correct them as well. So it's one thing if you're coming to my course and I'm talking about it, but I feel like I want to slap somebody on the hand when they do something, and it's not my place, right? So
that's why you hit my dad. Okay.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing though, because even though here in Canada or America, a lot of that is being respected. I remember going to Italy, and Rob, you've been there a couple of times. Getting on a bus in Italy or going to the airport, people don't understand, a line. The minute those doors open up, it's like, everybody's pushing to get in, and I'm saying, oh my God, like.
That's happening in Italy?
Oh,
I would have thought that would not be happening in Italy.
It was crazy. It was like a herd of sheep trying to get onto this bus, and I'm saying, and we were the first in line. We were in the front there, and people were pushing us to try to get in front of us. I said there was no system or whatever, but I think it's culturally in some countries that it's difficult. And
you ever try and get on a subway in Toronto at about 8:00 in the morning, going anywhere?
No.
The doors open.
Yeah.
Okay. There's wall-to-wall people. I don't know what they are now, but there's wall-to-wall people, and they don't move.
Yeah.
You have to walk into them. and get past so the door can close behind you. They don't move and they look like that. It's weird. It's one of the nice things about living in a smaller town, I think.
Yeah.
But that's a great program, and I think it's great. And
I think realtors could even use this program, really. I mean, even going back to, you were talking about, you have workshops about HST, and, there's a lot of, people don't really realize that as a realtor, you're running your own business. Yeah, you're running your own, you're an entrepreneur.
You are entrepreneurs.
And I'm sure there's a lot of different workshops that would be applicable even to real estate, to the real estate world, right? Because, I mean, I had to learn how to file my net file, my HST every month. I'm doing mine monthly. And it's something I just kind of had to learn from, word of mouth from my mom, just kind of showing me, and, and it's, I don't know if, it's 100% right. Even some questions she wasn't sure how to answer. And I mean, a workshop like that, that's structured, that's, laid out properly, is probably the answer for a lot of people,
Would you like to do an onboarding workshop? I can do that for your staff.
Honestly, you know what? That is seriously a great idea.
We're very close. You can just send them across the street.
That's right. You'll be here for a month. Also, there's Brainstorming Jam Sessions.
So Brainstorm Jam Session is a workshop that we offer. So it's basically sort of like this, sitting around a table. And so you would come in and present your business idea, and the rest of us would take turns essentially and just give you ideas. Okay, well, this would work, and experience. It also has been a great networking opportunity. So where I have, you'll come in and say, you want to open a candle company or something, and I say, well, actually, I know somebody who they do jars, so if you want, I can hook you up with them. So there's networking that's involved, and it just kind of gets them to think about their business, and it kind of expand it with 3 or 4 or 5 different people adding that opinion, and we kind of just guide them through the session. So and then that often works into them. We usually have them take the basics of starting a small business, and then we use Brainstorm Jam Session as a way to kind of flow them through. I let them kind of, all the courses kind of work into each other. So, I have people that they sign up for every single course that we do. So every workshop, I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing, John? It's nice to see you back. Because they take each of our courses because again, it's all free. And especially during COVID, they have nothing else to do. So they were, everybody was home, and especially when we were right in lockdown. And it was great. So we had lots of people taking them because they actually had time. They weren't working at whatever it is and thinking, I want to do something else. So they had that opportunity.
Interesting type of workshops. We put workshops together for our sales staff right now on educating our sales staff on the government subsidies, because most of we only do business with independent restaurants, and most of them have their heads in the medium to smaller size ones have their heads in the sand right now, because when they go to these programs, first of all, they get announced, but they have no details. And they're trying to figure out whether they should stay open over the winter or not. And you go to page after page after page after page of information. They don't know how to conduct it. They don't know how to handle it or fill out the form. So we're teaching our staff how to teach them to fill out the various programs that they're all eligible for. They're lost in the administration of the whole thing. Pretty sad, actually.
But again, it's all about knowledge is power, right? So if they're not aware, so you're helping them.
We're trying to, yeah.
Well, everyone, I want to say thank you to Sue Taylor from Clair College and Robbie Calcott from the Morton Wholesale Group. You've been wonderful guests and co-hosts today. Great topics. We'd love to invite you back someday on another note or another topic, because I think we can chat for hours on these discussions. And again, thank you from the Showtime Lounge and podcast room at Century 21 Studios here. And of course, Nick, good job again. And I think you should go take Sue's courses here. Anyways, everyone, thanks again. Stay safe, and make sure that when you go to Florida, Rob, give us a call. Thank you, everyone.
First on my list.
Bye for now.
Thanks, Rob.
If you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at joe@c21showtime.ca.